Look at these boards to start here, pretty much even. I mean, not really much more to say than these two are very similar.
Yeah, for sure. Curious to see what happens on Packy's right-hand side, whether he does take those yellows horizontally. He's signaling that that's not going to happen. Makes a lot of sense because he's going to have to use the blue every time he sees it. And so
Hmm.
he's going to be bringing down those spires, currently neck and neck, and he is going to be ending up taking some drop time on the right-hand side.
It is a bit of drop time, but once he does take that, it will. I mean, he doesn't have anything straggling on the top half of his board at all, so it'll be a really tight board for Packy and playing very clean, no garbage to speak of, and it just has openings for just about everything here. Meanwhile, on Influx's board, as he's down to 17 viruses, his yellow axis is a little bit precarious. He's going to have to play some swim or tuck game here to get that. He's going to really want a double yellow, but he could definitely sacrifice it and go left to right or right to left, really how he wants to. But looks like he's going to get a nice clear on the bottom row here, down to 7. It's even Steven here as we go into the final few viruses.
Hmm. I was kind of curious about some of those moves that Influx made, especially around those yellows. It looked like there might have been a tuck that would have been a little bit more efficient, but no worries. Packy out first at a 122. Influx just needs three more blues, and here's the first one, and the double blue coming in just fine to be out at a 130.
It's always nice when you get that double blue to end a level here. Both players playing, again, pretty even boards. Packy's got a big bubble right in the middle. The only real difference is Savage, as Packy makes a misdrop in 6-7,
Oh.
is there's nothing, hardly anything on those bottom two rows. So drop time and planning for that end game going to be huge for Packy here.
Hmm. But, Packy, again, has great vision on the board. So he's got a situation where he's going to be able to work on that misdrop up there. He can underclear, figure out how to make that go. It's just how does the garbage want to fall on top? And there he goes, gets it. Not a big problem at all. Meanwhile, and he's still got a lead over Influx there, who's
Mm-hmm.
drops a great T and a double on top of that.
Yeah, and Packy had that misdrop, but he's turned it into a really good setup for him. While he still does have a little bit of garbage, he's managed to stack that garbage that is now off the board into a 3 stack, and that's really the optimal thing you want for garbage. Is if you could stack it in 3, it makes it very, very easy to clear off. And Packy now really starting to just really tuck pills into those bottom two rows. It looks like he's signaling that perhaps he wants to just take off those last few or those last two blues in the bottom section here. He is now going to tuck a double blue in, getting another nice clear, and he is going to get that blue off of row 1. It is, however, a lead for Influx here as he's got a really, really good end game setup.
Yeah, and we saw pill halves building up on Influx's board, which means that a combo is always going to follow when he starts building all those pill halves. He's setting up for something for sure. He just needs three more blues, same story as last time. Don't arrive in quite the same way, but he's out at a 320. And meanwhile, Packy just needs to clear out this yellow in column 3 to expose the horizontal with the reds. Make sure that he doesn't drop a red in row 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we're seeing here is he's setting up for that horizontal to make things a little bit easier for him. He's out at a 339. He is behind a little bit here. It is an 8 virus advantage for Influx, down to 35. Influx is going to need a little bit of help to get access to blue here. It's almost red entirely on that top line. He's going to have to play garbage, as you're seeing on his board. But getting that blue garbage off the board, he is down to 31. Packy at 38 here, playing a blue and red heavy top line, no yellow to speak of, and he's starting to move, getting a blue off the board, and now getting some good clears here. Going to get a good setup and getting some double reds, which aren't optimal. He's going to choose to clear the garbage just to keep the board squeaky clean, and has a nice tuck here. Has a lot of options in that center section in 5 and 6.
Yeah, and he's 7 viruses behind, but really moving very well. This double red going to tuck
Wow.
excellently for a giant cross. Meanwhile, Adelito down to 16, drops a horizontal himself, and he really went through all of those reds very masterfully. It wasn't very elaborate setups, but when you have so much of one color, you just have to rip them off the board and not think too hard about the future because the red will take care of itself. And yeah, now he just needs some blues. Column 7, a little bit tricky. but otherwise, smooth sailing.
Yeah, a couple blues here would be nice, and you're gonna just elect to take the blue garbage off to set up the easy combo, and elect to go tuck there. So just needing two more, and he'll be out, and he will be out at a 5-12. Meanwhile, Packy is in a bit of trouble having a spired wing column on column one there, but he is gonna drill down some garbage and get the blue in column three off the board. But Savage, that column one is just absolutely rough for an endgame.
Yeah, and the fact that columns 4 and 5 are the ones that are stacked up really high, you have to take extra frames in order to navigate around that. So even if he gets the pills that he needs perfectly, it's just going to take time to actually just move them. Meanwhile, on Adelito's side, he's got 32 viruses left in level 11 and a good tuck there in column 3 to take out quite a bit of it. Yeah, so he's really making moves on the lower half of the board as well as the top.
And Packy is now joining or not Adelito, Influx in 11. He was out at about a 556, but as it stands here, Influx is already moving more than halfway through this board. While he's not getting the exact pill combinations he would like, he's still making some good use of it. Getting that right section drilled down. Could have gone for the quad in the middle. I think the more efficient play was on that right side, so good decision there by Influx. Packy here is going to drop down, and he's going to fork things down and get a nice set of viruses off the board, and getting another vertical clear over in the wing column on the left side. And now really starting to move here. He is down to 26. It is 9 for Influx. Influx playing a little bit of a messy board, needing double yellow or perhaps any sort of yellow to get that horizontal clear. He's going to try to open up, get that garbage clear. 5 viruses to go here. It looks like it's going to be a game here, Adelito, but we'll see what happens.
I think you mean Influx.
Oh my goodness. I'm having an identity crisis, folks.
Well, it's not your identity. So, Influx out at a 707, very nice time. And Packy with 14 viruses left is going to start readying up there for game 2. And again, is he going to end the sweepstakes? We definitely want to see more play from these two together for sure.
Yeah. And Packy's looking for wins here, because I know we were discussing this during the break, but Adelito, and it is correctly Adelito this time, does have a shot at overtaking Packy for the all-time wins record in DrMC speed history. So that could happen this tournament, but Packy can stymie that a bit here with a match win. But he's going to have to go 2-0 here, and maybe we'll have our first decider of this tournament, as he's out at a 754.
Mm-hmm. So he is going to ready up, and whew, man, I really want to see this one go to a decider.
I'm sure. I'm sure everyone in our chat would like to see a decider. It's been sweep. The first 9 matches of this tournament have all been 2-0 sweeps. Can the spell be broken here? We will find out. We have readies from both of our players, and we're gonna go 3, 2, 1, and pills here for the second game. Levels 8 to 11 in our second round of the speed match. Influx, the 4 seed, Packy, the 5 seed. My name's JB Henry, joined by Savage Octagon. And both of these players have pretty interesting boards here. A lot of yellow along that top line, but really nothing on that bottom third of the board for Packy. Kind of the same story for Influx.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's that right-hand side, which has quite a bit on it, but there's that big gap in the left-hand side. So we'll see what happens for Influx's combos there. Definitely needs a lot of red, and taking that red-blue lightning bolt combo, worked pretty well for that. And both of these players have really similarly shaped boards right now, JB.
Yeah, they're both really chunking at one particular side. It looked like it was mostly that right side for Influx, and the right side for Packy as well. Packy is just basically taking on a barge from columns 4 to 8 here, needing a lot of yellow help, and is starting to get it. This is massive RNG help for Packy. Probably going to be looking to go horizontal on those final yellows, and that does seem to be what he's signaling here, as Packy is going to be down to his final 2 viruses, needing 1 more yellow. He is going to be out at a minute 19, absolutely blazing fast for level 8. You're normally expecting about a minute 40, minute 45. uh, from our more elite players. But that was a phenomenal 8 for Packy.
Yeah, for sure. And Influx not very far behind. Just going to need one more red after this drill play. And yeah, this is exactly the type of time you said that we normally expect from level 8 out at a 142. But Packy already dropping some combos at the beginning of this level 9 to get started. But, he needs yellow and he needs it now.
Absolutely. Looking over at Influx's board here for the start of his 9, it's the little light on the top, but once you get into the middle, you see a lot of viruses clustered together. That does give you an opportunity for minimal drop time and horizontal clears if you can build them. But every drop is important here. You make a mistake here, it can compound in such tight quarters. But we're seeing Adelito here really making some smooth work of things, getting a nice sequence there, getting a bunch of viruses off the board, and really opening up that board. Meanwhile, on Packy's side, as he's down to 16 and up by now 6 viruses, he's really starting to address his right side. He is a little spired on 7, but is starting to work it down, and some easy desandwiching can open up that board.
For sure. Both of these players in a good position. Packy with a little bit of a lead. Influx there making good tucks on the right hand side. You see, all right, I don't have a lot of access to yellow, but I think blue is going to be my pain point. So I am just going to tuck those red yellows into column 8. And it's not a big deal at all. I think he's going to be going for some horizontal plans at the end, whereas Packy's going to be going vertical, perhaps on these yellows, maybe the top one. But actually, it looks like he's going to go for that horizontal red, and one tuck is going to do it. If he gets the yellow, boom, out at a 315.
A little bit slower pace on that 10, but it was just wonderful watching him climb that ladder and get to those last 3 viruses. Influx here is going to be out at a 324, so he has closed the gap here. It is just a 2 virus game, and Packy's only got about 3 or 4 pills down before Influx starts going to town here. And Influx now taking the lead here by about 3 viruses, as both these players playing a little bit more on the higher elevation side, but Packy's going to have more to deal with in his end game, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of doubles in that end game, so I'm kind of excited to see what happens for it. Meanwhile, looks like Influx is going to be dropping down this red yellow in column 3, excellently done, and into a double. Now, he does have a chasm in the center of the board, which can often be a little bit difficult. Ooh, I wonder what he's setting up for here with that red blue. Looks like a raft of horizontals.
Really nicely done there by Influx, getting everything nice and clear, opening up that right hand side. When things are clustered like that and you're playing a split board, it's really, really important. While you're probably going to be splitting the board further, what a combo!
Yeah.
That was a fork lightning there by our buddy Influx, who's down to 13 here and has now stormed ahead. He is up by 7 viruses. But as you said earlier, Savage, Packy has a lot of doubles and is in a lot tighter quarters on that end game, which can really usually mean a speedy sort of end game.
I'm surprised he didn't go for that T with the Reds, but I think he's trying to mitigate drop time in the future. He's got 10 and Influx has 7, but just brings it down to 3. And he's going to be looking for that horizontal in the end game. And I just don't think it's going to be enough. As soon as Influx gets 1 red, he's out, and he is, oh, wait a second. No, it's level 11. You're focusing so hard on the names. All right, people. I got this.
We're going to have remedial math and identity classes after this match. Anyways, Packy in to 48, 11 at about the 520 mark here. Still very, very close, and a lot of doubles for Packy, especially if you look in that middle to left section of the board. He can really do some damage, but it's kind of the same story for Influx. You look at that end game, you look at those bottom 4 rows, Savage, and you see a ton of double opportunities. So this could go really, really well for Influx here, given RNG helps.
Yeah, but the doubles are not very diverse there at the bottom of the board, and Packy's board looking great here. He's got a tiny bit of a lead, and he's got a very even top line. Looks like he's going to be setting up for a horizontal in row 3 with those reds. So he's probably, going to clear out column 1 in order to get that to happen, and he's stacking garbage up very, very well. Surprised that he didn't use the red blue over there on the left, but yeah, it is neck and neck right now. But Packy's top line more even, so less drop time perhaps to contend with.
Yeah, Adelito, or excuse me, Influx, I got it this time, is spired on column one here and is playing a bit of a cluster. Those block of reds, if a double red blitz would be massive for Influx right now, as Influx holding on to just a one virus lead, but Packy evening it up here and is, I think, looking for a big drop cross. Wow, that was a big one. That was beautiful. Went off like a firework here. It is 10-10 here now, 9-8. Both these players absolutely going to town, and Packy looking for reds, Influx looking for reds. Influx down to 2. It looks like it's going to be Influx here. He's just needing a couple of reds. He could have gone underneath, but no, he's going to go up top. Out at a 7-02, and in a back and forth second game here, Influx advances to semifinal Sunday.